brilliant presidency. But we're going to do things immediately, within 24 hours. We're going to stop the invasion of our southern and, by the way, our northern border, which is not great either. But we are going to stop immediately. And we have great people like Brandon Judd, Border Patrol, the people at ICE, Tom Homan, who's fantastic, Central Casting. We have great, they'll do it within 48 hours. Like the caravan I told you that's on its way up, they wouldn't have caravan. They had caravans when I came up with the name. I believe they'll say, oh, it wasn't really you, it was somebody. I believe I came up with the name because they started forming these caravans. And they don't put their best in those caravans, you know. These countries are very smart. They put people that they don't want to have in El Salvador, in Honduras, in Guatemala, in other places. And many of them now are coming from parts of Africa. Yesterday they had 18 people they got from the Congo, and four of them were from jails. By the way, our prisoners are like the nicest people in the world compared to some of the prisoners that our country is taking right now. Our prisoners are refined, wonderful people, even if they were murderers, compared to the people that are coming out of some of these cells from MS-13, from South America, from Africa. They're destroying our country. And we have to get them out. We have to get them out, and we have to get them out fast. So, you remember the Trump travel ban. I imposed the Trump travel ban from any terror-plagued country where they hate America. You know, when they're shouting in their country, death to America, typically they're not going to be great citizens. This is typical. Goes back to what we said about common sense. Death to America, death to America. By the way, we'd love to be a citizen. No, thanks. We don't want it. And I took a lot of heat. And then our Supreme Court, you know, we picked 3 justices, great justices, and over 300 federal judges, of which you have a lot of them. You have a lot of them right here in Texas. So that really helped. And by the way, you have a very good Attorney General who went through hell. He went through hell. And I was very happy to have helped. I was very happy to have helped, but they shouldn't have done that to him because he's one of the best in the country, and they shouldn't have done that to him. But it's one of those things. But if you hate America, if you want to abolish Israel, if you sympathize with jihadists, then we really don't want you coming into our country. We don't want you coming into our country. So we have an election coming up, and if you remember, and I know everyone here probably does, I only see very few, very, very young, but I do see young audiences now. We have the youngest audience. I noticed in the polls that have really been spectacular. We're leading DeSanctimonious by 54 points, 60 points. 61 came out today. We're at 70, almost 70, 69, and he's at like 8. It's like a wounded bird falling from the sky. Oh, who is that? Oh, that's Ron DeSanctimonious. Look, if I endorsed Louis, if Louis was down and out like DeSanctimonious, and I said, Louis Gohmert, I'm going to endorse you, it's going to bring you back. And then he goes out and he's down and out, he's got no chance. I endorse him, and then he goes like a rocket ship up, right? And then they ask 4 years later, then I got him through the general election also. But 4 years later, they come to Louis Gohmert, they say, sir, would you like to run for president against the president? Louis Gohmert would say, no, I can't do that because what he did for me was life-changing. Ron DeSanctimonious was looking for jobs. He ran, he was at 3%. The leader was, I think, in the 40s, right? Like 42, 43. The leader had almost $30 million in the bank. He was the very successful agricultural commissioner of Florida, which is like the second position in Florida after the governor. And he was there for 8 years, and his whole life was to run. But I didn't know him. And DeSanctimonious came to see me. Would you do it? Tears in his eyes. Nobody would even believe it. I don't know if he was wearing those same boots. I didn't notice that. I don't care either. That I don't care about. But tears in his eyes, he said, sir, if you endorse me, I think I could win. I said, Ron, you're doing so badly that if George Washington and Abraham Lincoln came back from the dead and they endorsed you and they would be your running mate in some form, you're not going to make it. So you're really popular in Florida. I'm telling you, sir, it would give me a chance. Now, I didn't know Adam Putnam, but he was supposed to be a good guy. But I didn't know him. I never met him. So I owed him nothing. But a lot of the congressmen, this man right here, more than anybody, and Wesley, because he's so young, he didn't get the full brunt, but there was nobody better than Wesley, and there's nobody better anyway because he's great. Okay? Take good care of him, Texas. Take good care of him. But Louis was right on the front lines, much better than Ron. But Ron was one of about 150 that were out there all the time saying the impeachment hoax #1, impeachment hoax #2, that they're hoaxes, right? And I appreciated that. So I said, all right, Ron, look, we'll do it. It's going to be tough, but we'll do it. And I asked him to write me out what he'd like to say, and he wrote it out. It was terrible. And that we found out. He's got terrible instincts. I mean, he was against Social Security, little things. He was against Social Security. He wanted to raise the age. He was against Medicare. He wanted to cut the hell out of Medicare. I said, these people deserve Medicare. They've been fighting for it. We could do a lot of other things like drill and take in money instead of doing that. But he was against things that were not good and not fair. And what happened is he wins. And then he wins again. I did 2 or 3 rallies that were massive rallies. I said, you're going to win, Ron, because the man he ran against was the hottest guy in Democrat politics. Let's assume I was the hottest guy in politics because I was president, right? I don't want to be foolish. But no, he was the hottest guy in Democrat politics. They said he'll be president someday. And they didn't know he was a crackhead, so turned out that was revealed about 1.5 years later. But he was hard to beat, and I said, you're going to beat him. After the 2nd or 3rd rally, I said, let me tell you, you're going to win. He said, no, I don't think so. I said, you're going to win. Okay, so he won, and that's it. I didn't see him too much. It wasn't like a social friend. I'd help Florida a lot, just like I helped Texas a lot. Every time you had those storms were brutal, we took care of you. We took care of Texas. That was my baby. We took care of Texas, but they asked him, are you going to run against the president? And he said something that I didn't like. I have no comment. Now, when they say I have no comment, Mario, he's a great businessman, that's not a good sign. Do you agree? He should have said, I would never run against our president. He's done a great job. And I endorse him fully immediately. And in 2028, he'd have a very good chance. But now I don't think he'd have much of a chance because he's been exposed as having no personality. And if a politician doesn't have some personality, you don't need a lot. #1, you need super competence, and you got to be smart as hell. And you got to be able to handle all the bullshit that they give you, including when they make you the political opponent of somebody and they get the Justice Department on you and they said, he spoke badly about the election. The election was rigged. I mean, he spoke, and there's so much evidence. We're going to show you things that nobody believed, but it was a rigged election. But so they asked Ron DeSanctimonious, and he said, I have no comment. And I said, I heard that. I said, play that back. One of the greatest inventions in history, TiVo. Or its alternative, right? There's a few of them. One of the great, better than television itself. Television was useless. You could never play anything back, right? TiVo. I said, play that sucker back. What did he just say? I have no comment. He said, that means